More people held in Guantanamo Bay have died waiting to be charged with a crime than have actually been convicted. So why is the notorious offshore prison, known for torture and indefinite imprisonment, still open over 20 years after former President George W. Bush launched his infamous war on terror?
Over 98% of the people who have been locked up in Guantanamo Bay have been innocent of any meaningful offense. And that's amazing.
That's Clive Stafford Smith, a civil rights lawyer who has represented many Guantanamo Bay detainees.
The US government took the position that people held in Cuba had no legal rights at all.
The Guantanamo Bay Detention Center has been around since 2002. It was created to detain people that the US suspected were terrorists. Nearly 800 people have been held there, all Muslim men or boys. Some were reportedly as young as 14. Most have never been charged with any crime. The US chose its location for its uncertain legal status. It's in Cuba, but on land the US says it has leased since 1903. Cuba calls it an occupation. The US says it pays around $4,000 a year for it. But the Cuban government doesn't recognize the lease as legal and refuses to cash the checks. And that type of legal evasiveness has often been seen in the way the US treats detainees at the prison. Through a legal loophole, the US labels detainees as unlawful enemy combatants and denies them many constitutional rights.
If you ask me what an unlawful enemy combatant is, I have to say it's just nonsense. It doesn't exist.
Prisoners held there have been denied lawyers and could not challenge their detentions. Most report being tortured and subjected to inhumane treatment. At least 2 presidents have campaigned to close Guantanamo down, but nothing has changed.
Of course he could do it. He's the most powerful person on the planet. But as a president, he just didn't invest the political capital in that.
And after Obama, former President Donald Trump decided he would keep the detention center open.
And we got way more enemies now than we had at the beginning. So it's not just an immoral thing to have Guantanamo Bay, it's fundamentally stupid.
After President Joe Biden took office, he said he would empty the prison. But activists say it hasn't been a priority for him. Today, Guantanamo is still running with dozens still imprisoned. Most have been cleared for release, but are still waiting for that to happen. The average length of their imprisonment is 16 years.